Hello, my pretties. Happy New Year. Today this is episode 137 of Shadows and Pretties, and since the end of 2021 is approaching, I thought I would talk about this one movie from a certain Nickelodeon show most of you guys have seen as a kid. And with that said, we're going to be talking about this movie, but it's going to be a review as well. And we're going to be doing this movie called The Rugrats Movie. Now, this one came out in 1998, and it's based off of the show called The Rugrats, which I will do a Shadows and Praise episode based on the TV show. But I thought, I'd go ahead and, do about the movie. Now, of course, in the movie, there are two different sequels following this movie, such as The Rugrats in Paris, that came out in 2000, and The Rugrats Go Wild, which that one was released in 2003. But I will be releasing those episodes of Shadows and Pretties where I'll be talking about those in separate videos. But for this episode, I'm mainly going to be focusing on is this movie. Now, this movie features Dill Pickles, also known as Tommy's younger brother, that most of you guys, if you were a kid, and you probably watched this movie either in the feed years or when you were a kid on VHS, most of you guys probably, have seen this movie as a young kid. Alright, sorry about that. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So the plans for a Rugrats film adaptation, along with the Ren and Stimpy and Doug, began when Nickelodeon made a contract with 20th Century Fox to produce films between 1993, and 1995. However, the contract expired with no films into production, so around the same year when the contract expired, the development of the film was restarted with Paramount Pictures, since Nickelodeon's parent company, Viacom, purchased the studio in 1994. And the production had restarted the television series after a small hiatus. Now, the Rugrats movie was released by Paramount Pictures in the United States on November 20th, 1998. Though the film opened at 1 in the United States and grossed out about almost $150 million worldwide. It became the first non-Disney animated film to gross over $100 million since the United States, and the film follows by two sequels that I mentioned earlier, which is Rugrats in Paris and Rugrats Go Wild. So, what is this movie, you guys are probably asking me right now? What is this movie about? Well, to refresh your memory, in case you guys haven't seen the movie in like a couple years, I'm sure for me personally, it's been years since I've watched this movie, because this movie came out the year I was born in, but I was born in August, so I was about just a baby, like a few months old when this movie came out. So, basically, the movie starts off with Dee Dee Pickles, who is also Tommy's mother, is pregnant with her second baby, which she believes it's a girl, while everyone else believes it will be a boy. But of course, Dee Dee does go into labor during her baby shower, and her friends rush her to the hospital, despite the fact that she was not due until the following week. While this was happening, the kids crawl off to explore the nursery area before being found by the other parents. So later on, when the baby is finally born, after a montage of past lives, it turns out to be a boy that they named him Dill, who is also known as, Tommy's younger brother. Dill quickly becomes more difficult to manage by crying loudly nonstop, refusing to share with his older brother Tommy, and after a violent brawl between Tommy and Dill over Tommy's teddy bear, their father Stu has a conversation with Tommy about being a big brother, and the responsibility he has now, such as assuring him that one day he will be happy to have Dill as his little brother. He also gives Tommy a locket with a picture of Tommy in it, and Dill taped together with the watch inside, which he still calls his responsibility, which Tommy pronounces sponsibility. Well, I know Tommy's still a baby, and babies or toddlers in that case, cannot really produce words very well until they get older. I mean, sometimes you know, because he's just a toddler. Meanwhile, outside of town, a circus train was loaded with monkeys stops at the station so the driver and ringmaster can get a coffee. While they do so, the monkeys hijack the train and the driver and ringmaster are unsuccessful at stopping them. So the monkeys accidentally speed up the runaway train, causing it to derail and crash into the forest. So that's when Dill pushes the other babies too far, when they decide to take him back to the hospital despite Tommy's disapproval. So they ended up recklessly driving through the streets in a Reptar wagon, which Stu had built for the contest in Japan. Along the way, Dill secretly steals Angelica's doll named Cynthia, which prompts to take the family dog Spike, and they embark on the quest to find the babies and retrieve Cynthia. The babies eventually crash into the woods where they quickly realize that they are lost. They spot a ranger's cabin and they believe that a lizard, mispronounced of wizard, lives in there and decides not to go there, believing that they could take them home. But after an encounter with the gang running away circus monkeys, Dill is unfortunately taken away from them. And Tommy vows to find Dill by himself after Chucky, Lil, and Phil agreed that they're better off without him. Meanwhile, the parents do find out that the babies are missing and try to find them. However, it becomes a media sensation as numerous news reports constantly asking the adults questions, and one of them, the arrogant and sensitive one, Rex Pester, intentionally infuriates Stu's older brother, Drew Pickles, into attacking Stu by telling him he lost Angelica. Tommy eventually finds Dill during a storm and they are forced to take shelter under a tree. But as Tommy tries to take care of him, Dill selfishly drinks all of the milk and keeps the larger blanket for himself. And a struggle ensures them between the brothers, which leads them to a blanket tearing in half. Tommy then falls into a puddle of mud, and Tommy then finally snaps and nearly pours banana baby food on Dill for the monkeys to take him away. But in the combination of Dill's tears and fear here of Tommy's own reflection in the puddle, causing him to come to his senses and take pity on his younger brother. So the two reconcile and then they sleep peacefully. So after the storm, the babies find Tommy and Dill after running into Angelica and Spike. They make their way to the ranger's cabin. While on the bridge, they are confronted by the monkeys, but the monkeys are then scared off by a large wolf who has been stalking the babies with the intent of killing them since they arrived in the woods. Spike intervenes and fights off the wolf until they sadly both fell off of the bridge. Meanwhile, Stu has been looking for the babies with the Vera pterodactyl-like aircraft he made. He finds them, but he crash lands into the ranger's cabin, believing that he's the lizard. The babies then wish Spike back instead of going home. Stu falls through the bridge and finds Spike, who actually survived the fall by landing on the strut of the bridge. Soon afterwards, the babies get reunited with their families, while the monkeys are reunited with the circus owners. The monkeys attack Rex, much to the family's amusement, and then Dill finally learns to share when he drinks half a bottle of formula and gives the other half to Tommy. As the families return home, the babies accept Dill as one of the group after he finally assists them in getting them ice cream sundae from the top shelf of the refrigerator. In the post-credits scene, if you remember watching the movie, Boris's goat rams the Reptar wagon while sleeping and Grandpa Lou on board it, causing the wagon to roll down the street, which presumably starts the search once more. So that basically wraps up the movie called, the Rugrats movie. Now, what did I honestly think of this movie? I actually love this movie. The animation of it was pretty good, as well as the good voice acting. The characters were pretty neat. I do like, the characters in this movie. They were pretty good characters, I'm not gonna lie. The voice acting of this was actually really good. I really do enjoy the voice acting. I thought the voice acting was well done. It was amazing. It's definitely a story that I really recommend. It's definitely a movie that I recommend watching if you are a fan of the Rugrats. You would definitely enjoy this one. So, with that being said, and with that being the case, talks about the production of Rugrats making into a feature film existed since the beginning of the series. However, there was a first attempt was in 1993 when Nickelodeon made a 2-year contract deal with 20th Century Fox to produce new material, but an unnamed Nickelodeon exclusive old rule did not make the possibility of the films on ever existed properties. One of those were proposed was Rugrats alongside with Doug, Ren and Stimpy, but however in 1994, Nickelodeon's parent company called Viacom acquired Paramount Pictures and Paramount would distribute the movie rights instead, resulting in the contracts from Fox to expire with no movies produced at the time. Although Doug will eventually get a theatrical film from Disney in March of 1999, production on the movie would start a later year in 1995. 2 months after the release of the movie, an episode prequel titled The Family Tree was aired in the final episode of the 5th season, where both the film's beginning and ending parody Paramount and Lucasfilm's Indiana Jones series. This later then inspired the second segment of the episode called Tale of Two Puppies, Okie Dokie, Jones and the Ring of Sunbeams, and that aired during the show's 8th season on June 1st of 2002. So the film was the first Rugrats to use the digital ink and paint rather than the traditional, animation that they used in the show. 2 songs were cut for during the production. First involves around Dee Dee and Stu in a nightmare sequence where Dr. Lipsitz criticizes their parenting through a song, and the second one depicts the Rugrats pushing the reptile wagon through the woods, debating on what to do with Dill in an army chant style. 2 scenes were cut from the theatrical gold DVD, VHS, and Laserdisc releases. However, these scenes are shown on PBS and Nickelodeon television areas of the film, and these scenes were also present in the print novelization. The film was eventually released in theaters with a cat dog short entitled Fetch, and this short was later broadcast in Cat Dog episode 21. However, the VHS, DVD, and Laserdisc release only contains a different cat and dog short film from episode 28 entitled Winslow's Home Videos. Now, the Rugrats movie was released on VHS and DVD of March 30th of 1999 by Paramount Home Video, was replaced with, and it was reprinted many times. The film was also released on a Laserdisc on the same day as the Pioneer Entertainment. However, in 2011, the film was re-released in a 3-disc trilogy set alongside with the other sequels for the honor of the Rugrats' 20th anniversary. In addition, it was released as some home sets by Paramount. So, yeah. I mean, that's pretty interesting that it was, released, in certain, VHSs, DVDs, and etc. So, I mean, I'm going to sit here and say this right now. This story, I'm not going to lie, was a pretty good story for what this is. Now, I really do like how the story went out. I like the animation. I mean, the soundtrack of it, especially with the songs, is flat out amazing. There is also a game based on the movie, was released for Game Boy and Game Boy Color around, 1998 and 1999 respectively, and it was developed by Software Creations, and etc. Now, of course, they developed a computer game based on the film, the Rugrats Movie Activity Challenge. It was released in 1998 in September as part of the film's marketing campaign was going on. Several books were released by, Simon and Schuster's, or Simon Spotlight Branch, and Nickelodeon inspired them by the Rugrats movie, Tommy's New Playmate, and the Rugrats vs. the Monkeys were also released in 1998. Offered by certain authors. The Rugrats movie storybook was released on the same date, using the same illustrators and publishers. It was written by Sarah Wilson. The same date of the release of the Rugrats movie, Hold On to Your Diapers, Babies, We're Going In, trivia from the Hits movie, and etc. So, that's something I'm gonna say. The film was like a box office success when it was released in the theaters. And, of course, it was a very awesome movie for what this movie really was. So, yeah, that was the Rugrats movie. And if you were a kid in the 90s, or if you remember watching the Rugrats when you were little, I recommend you check out this movie if you haven't did so already, because if you haven't watched this movie, then you're missing a lot on what this movie has to offer, because this movie is a very well made Rugrats movie. I mean, I am going to take a look at, reviewing the other movies, like the Paris one and the Go Wild one, because that's like a Wild Thornberry's movie, as well as a, well, Rugrats crossover. I mean, that movie seemed pretty good. I mean, I haven't watched this movie in like years. It's a pretty good movie, and I definitely would recommend you check out this movie if you haven't. You will not be disappointed once you have seen it. I mean, it's a really good movie, and it's a nice episode to end 2021, cuz it's New Year's Eve. So, yeah. Um we'll be looking forward to doing more episodes like this in Shadows and Pretties sometime in 2022. So, anyways, if you guys like this movie, let me know in the comments below. If you don't like this movie, that's understandable. I respect your opinion regardless if you like this movie or not. If you enjoyed this movie, feel free to let me know in the comments below. And as always, what did you guys think? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what you have done personally to help make the movie a lot better. Feel free to leave me now what your thoughts are in the comments below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you're new to this channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Peace out.